In today's episode, we're going to explain everything you need to know about lenses. And by the end of this video, you are going to be able to choose which lens is the right one for you. This video is going to be divided into 4 chapters, so feel free to jump between them in the chapter section down below. Starting with the first one, focal length. First of all, we need to talk about focal lengths. In order to know which lens is the right one for you, you need to understand focal lengths. A focal length is a distance that's measured in millimeters, which decides how much of the scene will fit into the frame and how big or small subjects appear. As I said before, it's measured in millimeters. This unit does not represent the distance between the subject and the lens. Simply put, it equals the distance between the back of the lens and the sensor of the camera. The smaller the millimeter number, the wider the lens will be, which will mean it will cover a wider field of view. Let's imagine you want to cover a 180 degrees angle of the field or of the scene. You can achieve that using a lens called 8 millimeters, which we usually call it a fisheye lens because it has the same appearance as a fisheye lens. As you can see from the photo, as the millimeters go up, the field of view gets tighter, but it also gives you more reach. Let's say if you want to shoot something very far away, like the lion example that I gave in the previous video, you want to use something like a 200mm or 600mm to give you the extra reach. But if you want to shoot something wide like real estate or a stadium, you want to get something between 16 to 24mm. This is a wide angle lens that will show you everything around the field. Now that you understood focal lengths, you can choose the right lens for the job. Now let's talk about zoom. If you chose the focal length or focal lengths that you want to shoot in, you might ask yourself, do I have to get a lens for each focal length that I'm going to shoot in? So let's say if you want to shoot in 24 and 50 and 100mm, do you have to get a lens for each one of them? Now you have 2 choices, either zoom lenses or prime lenses. Let me explain. Zoom lenses, from their names, will allow you to zoom in and out. It has 2 numbers on the lens. So let's say this is a 28 to 75mm. It will allow you to shoot on 28 and 75 and everything in between. While prime lenses will only allow you to shoot on the one focal length that's mentioned on the lens. So this is a 20mm and it will allow you to shoot on 20mm only. You cannot zoom in or out. You have to move the camera physically to see more from the field or to get closer to a subject. Now you might ask yourself, why would I buy a lot of lenses while I can get one that gives me all the wide angle and all the tight angle shots? There are 2 reasons to get prime lenses. The first one is that prime lenses are usually sharper because they have less elements. Elements means less glass inside of them. So it doesn't have all of the glass required to zoom in and out as in zoom lenses. And it's also lighter, so you can use it better on a gimbal or if you're packing light and traveling somewhere. The second advantage of prime lenses is wide aperture. If you haven't watched the first 2 episodes, go watch them. We explained everything about aperture, ISO, shutter speed, everything you need to know about all of these. Now for this video, I'm going to tell you why a wide aperture is good on prime lenses, or it's better than zoom lenses at least. Prime lenses have wide aperture, which means it will allow more light to hit the sensor, which will give you a cleaner image. So having the sharper image of the prime lens with the wide aperture will allow you to shoot sharper images and videos. The widest aperture on a prime lens is 0.9. f0.9 is literally seeing in no light. You don't need any lights, you just need moonlight or something like that. A flashlight on your phone. It will give you shallower depth of field, which is the blurry background that I have behind me. While on a zoom lens, the wider aperture that we ever got is f2 and it's extremely expensive. But you get the versatility of getting all of these focal lengths in one lens. Now knowing all of this, which one should you choose? If you're traveling, you're packing light, you want to shoot in low light situations, you want sharper images, go with prime lenses. They are as expensive as zoom lenses sometimes. So don't get hyped up that this is one focal length so it will be cheaper. No, the wider the aperture, the more expensive these lenses can get. While on zoom lenses, you can get some for a couple $100 up to a couple of thousands of dollars, depending on the reach, the focal range that it's covering, and the aperture. I don't use prime lenses at all because I shoot documentaries and events, so I need the versatility of a zoom lens. I can compromise on the lower f-stop by using a camera body like the ZVE1 that allows me to shoot a clean image in low light and have the least amount of noise. I explained all of this in the previous video, so go watch it after watching this one. Now the third part is aperture, but we've already spoke about aperture. No, this is different, so bear with me. If you searched certain focal length online, okay, let's say a 24mm, you will have a couple of different lenses with a couple of different prices. Let's say 24 f1.8 and a 24 f2.8. The lower the aperture number, the cheaper the lens will be. We discussed that already, and this is done, okay? Now, for zoom lenses, you will see the exact same lens with either one aperture number or two, and that's called a variable aperture or a fixed aperture. Now, these two are zoom lenses. Both of them cover a wide range. This is 28 to 75 and this is 18 to 55, which is actually exactly the same because this is cropped frame and this is full frame. Again, we explained all of that in the previous episode. The difference between them is that this one is a 28 to 75 f2.8, while this one is an 18 to 55 f3.5 to 5.6. How does it have two aperture numbers? These two aperture numbers are linked to the two focal lengths on the lens. So on 18mm, this lens will have an aperture of 3.5, but as we zoom in, the aperture will close in up to 5.6. So the widest aperture we have on 18 is 3.5 and the widest aperture we have on 55 is 5.6. We cannot go to 3.5 anymore. That means the aperture is closing down and the exposure is getting lower. So you need to turn the exposure up either by increasing the ISO or changing your shutter speed or shutter angle. Variable aperture lenses are cheaper. They usually come with your camera for free, or you can buy them for a fraction of the price of the fixed aperture zoom lens. Now, a fixed aperture zoom lens has only one f-stop. It's 2.8. So it's 2.8 on 28 and 2.8 on 75. The exposure doesn't change as you zoom in. So which one should you choose? Obviously, the one with the fixed aperture. But if you don't have the budget, if you're just buying your first camera and it comes with a kit lens, use this to learn, start making money, and then you can buy the wider fixed aperture zoom lens. On a side note, a lot of people face this problem when they first start learning, and I did. Like, why is my exposure getting darker whenever I zoom in? And a lot of people don't know what is this until they start searching online. So searching online is your friend, and learning from these workshops is your actual friend and mentor. So please subscribe to see more videos like that and share it with your friends to help us reach more people and teach them about photography and videography totally for free. Now you have all of these lenses. Which one should you choose? It totally depends on your budget. As we said before, this usually comes with your camera with little to no money, so you can start using this. If it doesn't, and if you have the budget, you can start choosing between primes and zoom lenses with fixed aperture. If you're working on a movie set, we usually use a prime lens to shoot movies and films. You can have some cinema zoom lenses, but they are extremely expensive also, and these are more affordable and accessible to rent. I will explain the difference between zoom lenses and cinema lenses in a later video, so subscribe to see that. But for now, if you're traveling, if you want the sharper image, if you can afford a couple of these prime lenses, go buy them. This is actually one of the cheapest lenses that I've ever bought. This was like $100 or something like that, and I bought it from Viltrox. It is a 20mm lens. There's a 50 with the same size. It's very affordable, very light. You can use it easily on a gimbal. It has a great autofocus. It is good to start with. If you want the versatility, if you are willing to compromise on aperture, go with a zoom lens, something like a 28 to 75 f2.8 or 24 to 70, or if you have the money, go with a 28 to 70 f2, which is the lowest aperture number that you can find in the market right now for a zoom lens. But I should warn you, it is expensive. Now you bought the right camera body and you paired it with the right lens, but how to set the camera up to start shooting video? This is what we're going to discuss in the next episode, so subscribe to watch that. Watch the previous 2 episodes so you don't miss out on them. You get all the information about exposure triangle, about frame rates, about camera bodies, and how to choose the right camera for you, and then you can watch the next episode. We are doing all of this for free, so subscribe to see all of our videos. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment down below what you want to know about next, or if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one.